If I parent completely in flow, well, in theory, it sounds nice to my spiritual self. It actually feels pretty crappy. Because if I'm just living in flow, it's so loosey goosey that the human self that I am has nothing to root into. And I found the same is true for my child. If I just sit with flowing and following my child in this really feminine way, it's unsettling. And I don't find it unsettling in a sense of that's growth to lean into that discomfort, more so in the sense that something's missing. And I think I see this in parenting today. I think mamas of this generation have gotten, at least some of us have gotten so afraid of providing structure because we think that structure limits and rigid, and we don't want to put constraints on our child. We want to respect the fullness of who they are. And we take that to mean unguided, unbound. But the truth is, you can't drink water without having a container to serve as the vehicle for you to take it in. A glass, even your hand cupped, your lips, your throat, like whatever. Like you need some structure, some physical manifested thing to take it in. And that structure is required because as a human, we come here, and I've talked about this in other ways, but we come here with 3 core needs. We need to be safe, we need to be supported, and we need to have a sense of significance. These are needs. They are not nice to haves. They're needs. And in order to create the safety net that those 3 needs can be met with, we need structure. Think of it like this. It's the masculine, feminine, yin, yang, right, wrong, up, down, duality. We live in a consciousness of duality when we're in our human expression. Our soul is beyond duality, but it takes on the lens of duality in this human experience. So what does that mean for us when we're parenting? Well, we don't want to go too far the other way where we just create structure. And I think that's something that can be present in parenting nowadays too. We're so focused on wanting the best for our kiddos that we try to micromanage it with so much structure. And so we need both, right? We need this wiggle room. We need the in-between. And the in-between can be really scary because if you're not quite feminine, you're not quite masculine, you're not quite structured, you're not quite intuitive, where the heck are you? My dear, you're in the loving flow of structured intuition. You as the parent are like the coach for your kiddo, and you get to provide the container. Container, not dictate every single move, but a way to be present with your child that isn't just about flowy intuitive presence. It has structure, whether that's a framework, whether that's boundaries, whether that's rules, whether that's values that you set, whether it's using your environment to serve as the structure, like a literal gate to stop them from going to the kitchen, a protective lock to stop them from opening the oven door. Like that's structure. We don't turn away from that sort of structure. We like having locks on our doors. We don't just live in intuitive flow. And so we need to find a way to create structure for our kiddos that doesn't squash their ability to be in their creative light, but actually serves as an igniter of it. Because when we feel held, we are actually free. When we feel supported, we are actually enlivened. When we feel respected, we are actually in a state where we get to access the deepest, most in-depth potential of who we are. And so my darling mamas out there with me on this journey of motherhood, let's not just be flowing in the good feels. Let's not just be a structured, regimented individual either. Let's balance the in-between. And this is what we do at Mama Magic School. We work together to define what your Mama Magic blueprint is for you. Because mamas, I don't want to say there's no parenting manuals out there because there are. But what about yours? You're here to mother your way for your toddler. How do you do that? How do you do that? That respects who you are from a human and a soul level. And that's what we're talking about in this video today.